Hospital tonight after an incident involving a gun in several local law enforcement agencies. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Mary Smith. Our top story tonight began with a domestic dispute call, ended with deputies and troopers tasing a woman who was reportedly waving a gun around children. Brianna Aldridge is live in our newsroom tonight. She has more on this nearly hour-long standoff that resulted in hospitalization. Brianna, what can you tell us?
Yes, Mary, the 911 center received a call about a domestic dispute on 1931 Rising Sunridge Road, and the woman involved had a gun and was firing shots. 48-year-old Maria Pearsall was reportedly looking for someone as she made her way from her home to a nearby neighbor. When officers arrived, she was standing on the porch of the home and a mother of two young children who police were able to get out safely. Captain Robert Simmons tells me that they were able to distract Pearsall long enough to come from behind and tase her until she hit the floor. She was then transported to Camden Clark Medical Center, which I'm told is protocol after a tasing incident.
We were walking towards her. We were, telling her, show us your hands. We need to see your hands. And that's when we spotted the pistol in her right hand. Other units arrived on scene. We took cover of the available vehicles that were nearby, trying to talk to her.
When Pearsall is released from Camden Clark, Wood County Sheriff's Office says she will be facing a wanted endangerment charge. Deputies also say they are still investigating who Pearsall was actually looking for and a few other missing details. Back to you, Mary.
Brianna Aldridge live in our newsroom tonight. Brianna, thank you. Well, also in Wood County tonight, an accused child molester appeared in court for his preliminary hearing. 34-year-old Jonathan Keefe waived his preliminary hearing today in Wood County Magistrate Court. Keefe is accused of abusing a 6-year-old girl at a home in Parkersburg last summer. Keefe's lawyer requested his bond be reduced to $150,000, and Magistrate Jody Perkey granted that request. His bond reduction comes with the condition of GPS home confinement. He also cannot return to his home, be in the vicinity of Wood County schools, or come in contact with children under the age of 18. He's charged with 2 counts of sexual abuse by a guardian. His case now moves to circuit court for either another hearing or indictment by a grand jury. And over in Ravenswood, one man is facing sexual assault charges after admitting to abusing a juvenile family member. 51-year-old Brian Reed is charged with 2 counts of first-degree sexual assault. According to a criminal complaint, authorities came to a home on Thaxton Street in Ravenswood on May 30th. Officers say a woman accused her husband of sexually assaulting a juvenile family member. Reed did deny those accusations when he was interviewed at the home. But during an interview on June 7th at the Women and Children's Hospital in Charleston, the juvenile said she had been sexually assaulted by Reed many times over the past year and a half. The child said it mostly happened in Reed's bedroom and often involved them watching pornographic videos before physically touching took place. The next day, Reed did admit to those accusations to investigators. He's being held in the South Central Regional Jail on a $400,000 bond. Switching gears and turning to the weather, meteorologist Kirk Greenfield is live in the Weather Center with a first look at our forecast. Kirk, how long will this heat wave last?
Looks like we're going to go all week long in the Mid-Ohio Valley with temperatures that will be in the upper 80s throughout. When we take a look at our current situation outside, the Highmark West Virginia Skycam says 89 degrees. It feels like 91. Relative humidity 46% with the winds only out of the southwest at 6 and the barometer 30.04 inches and falling. No radar satellite composite right now. We just see some brief pop-up showers that really haven't amounted to much of anything. But tomorrow we may have a better chance. Tonight at 84, sunny and still hot. Looks like at 8 a.m. it'll start out mostly sunny, about 73, but still sunny and hot, about 83 by 5 o'clock tomorrow. Now I'll be back in a moment with more on this forecast.
Thank you, Kirk. An update now to a Ritchie County man facing attempted murder charges after shooting his wife through a car. After waiving his preliminary hearing, Michael Lamb won't face a courtroom until October. Lamb's preliminary hearing was scheduled today in Ritchie County Magistrate Court. He motioned to waive it, and according to prosecutors, won't be back in court until he faces a grand jury in October. Police say on June 2nd, Lamb waited in the woods with a rifle and shot his wife, Vicki Lamb, as she drove by. Vicki was flown to a Morgantown hospital where she was treated and later released. Investigators say Lamb told them he also tried to shoot his wife from the same location the day before on June 1st, but was unsuccessful. Lamb remains in the North Central Regional Jail on a $500,000 bond. While a Columbus man accused of kidnapping may spend the next 20 years in prison. 36-year-old Thomas Andrews received his sentence today by Judge Robert Waters and Wood County Circuit Court. He also received credit for 524 days already served. Andrews previously entered an Alford plea of guilty to kidnapping charge. This means the defendant pleads guilty, but does not admit to the criminal act and asserts his innocence. The Parkersburg Narcotics Task Force arrested Andrews and 26-year-old Closer Snell, pictured here, in January 2016 after a pursuit that began with officers noticing drug activity in the vehicle. During that pursuit, authorities say an officer heard a gunshot. Later, they learned the two suspects threw two guns out of their moving vehicle, along with bullets and an ounce of methamphetamines. When they finally pulled over that vehicle, officers found both men and two people being held against their will. Snell was scheduled to be sentenced today, but court officials say his case was continued. A pickup truck was stuck over a guardrail this evening after an accident with a semi-truck on Interstate 77. It happened just after 1:30 this afternoon, about a mile north of Route 50. The semi's driver told Wood County Sheriff's deputies the pickup was either driving at a slow rate of speed or had come to a complete stop. The two vehicles were headed southbound when the semi's driver swerved to the left to avoid the pickup.
Semi's right front fender clipped the left rear of the pickup truck, and the pickup truck kind of did what we call a yaw mark, like a half circle, struck the guardrail, and then went about 60 feet over the embankment.
And the pickup's driver was taken to Campbell Clark Medical Center. His condition is not available. Earlier this afternoon, southbound traffic was backed up nearly 2 miles while crews cleaned up the accident. A written opinion from the West Virginia Attorney General's office has led to 3 resignations from a local board. The opinion states people who serve on public advisory board cannot serve on another. Among those affected is Dan Marshall, who's been on the County Building Commission, but also is a member of the West Virginia board. He, along with 2 other members of the Building Commission, will have to resign.
How do we find 3 people that aren't community-minded? We find people that are community-minded, they already are serving on other boards, and they come over to this board, and then they get conflicted out.
And also at Commission today, Marshall discussed refinancing bonds for the Wood County Justice Center. He told commissioners facing several financial institutions are interested in taking on that job. Commissioners plan to meet with each other separately to further discuss that. And while the opening of bids remains on hold, the County Commission is looking at options for repairing a county-owned building. A representative of a Charleston building firm says a foam-based roof for the structure at 2nd and Avery Street is preferred over one made of rubber. The structure once housed the sheriff's office, but now is just used to store court records. In spite of recent problems, the commission was told the building is mostly in good shape.
Get a good roof system on it. I know that you've got some block cracking and things of that nature, but it's nothing that's structurally unsound from what I see.
This spring, Wood County shut down the building because of mold. The commission recently rejected the only bid it got for roof repairs on that building, but it does plan to rebid the project, which costs estimate about $150,000. A local elementary school has been without a playground since last September, but with the help of the community, that soon will change. The Jefferson Elementary School staff says they had to tear down the playground because it didn't meet national code regulations. But after the staff submitted for grants, flyers, fundraisers, and reached out to local businesses, the school's dream playground may soon come to life. However, some people have been pretty upset with the old playground being torn down.
Want to see it torn down. And it's sad, we understand that yes, they don't want to see it torn down, but due to regulations and by national code, we have to, and safety is the number one concern. And we want the community to understand that, we would not have torn it down if we didn't have to, because we understand they put their heart and soul into it.
And the principal also says it will cost about $30,000. It's expected to be completed for students when they return to school in August. For residents without cars, it may be pretty hard to get to your destination here in the Mid-Ohio Valley, but one local organization is working to change that. At today's Parkersburg Rotary meeting, General Manager of the MOV Transit Authority, Timothy Thomas, announced plans to expand local transportation services. Thomas says this will make it easier for local residents to get around by using a regional system, but he says the planning is just getting started.
A couple weeks ago, we had our first meeting. We put together a transportation group, a study group to study this possibility. There were providers, there were local stakeholders, local officials there. And we're going to put the committee together to study this more in depth and bring all the issues and all the concerns and basically all the possibilities that we can actually make this come to an event.
Thomas says there are several major benefits to having a regional transportation system. This includes economic development, community growth, and improvement for life of local residents. Research finds elderly people are often subjected to some form of abuse. So this month, people all over the world, including right here in the Mid-Ohio Valley, are making sure that that does not happen. Westbrook Health Services, Eagle Point, and several other organizations came to City Park today to provide resources and information about elder abuse. Parkersburg Mayor Tom Joyce says this is a very important issue. The event's goal is to raise awareness on an issue that affects as many as 5 million elders every single year.
Well, we care, number one, we care about the seniors in Wood County, and we want them to know that we care. That's why we're here today. By being here, if someone does need to say something, that we can be their voice.
And similar events are expected to take place throughout the rest of the month. Coming up today is Orlando United Day. It marks 1 year since the deadliest mass shooting in American history. We take a look at how people are honoring the victims and moving forward. Plus, Kirk is back with weather. That's all up next at 5.
We got another victim, folks. Next up on the ball is Ronald. You ready, Ronald?
Push the red button again.
Come on, everybody, to scream one time. Get ready. Here we go.
There are some things in life you want to do.
Okay,
Like foundation.
it's still going. Hang on.
Ramjack.